you're completely out of it. An essential it, like toilet paper, batteries, diapers, or an essential to you it, like a phone charger or even a TV. Whatever it is, get it fast with Prime Now from Amazon. Prime Now is the super fast delivery service exclusively for Prime members, with free 2-hour delivery and 1-hour delivery for $7.99 in select areas, with thousands of products ready to ship right from your smartphone with the Amazon Prime Now app. Download the app at primenow.com and get it faster.
Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Fort Bragg's backyard, this is the show that put the 110 Nation on the map. There is only one nation, the 110 Nation. And you're listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show. Covering each and every sport across the board. There is no sport too large or too little. It's time to talk the talk. Here we go. Here's the man, the founder, and your host, Mr. CJ Sports.
I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports. You can follow me at CJ Sports 1, the 110 Nation, at 110 Nation. Also, check out our fan page, my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, check out our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com. Also, you can check out our company site, www.the110nation.com, for all the latest going on here at the 110 Nation. Don't forget, April 15th, just 11 days from now, we turn 5. Yes, 5 years old here at the 110 Nation. It's hard to believe. Time going by so fast. Yes, then again, here we are. We got a goal. And we got a lot of work to do to get there. I've been talking about it for over a month now. We want to have 1,000 likes 11 days from now. 11 days, remind you. We got about 150 likes to go. I know, a lot of work. We got 5 days worth of goodies planned and ready to go out. I don't think we're going to make it. If you are listening to the show and you've not liked it, go over to 110 Nation Sports and like us. If you already liked us, it's a proven fact. Everybody knows somebody that talks sports, likes sports, or has shared some sports related on their Facebook page. Therefore, you share us to one of them so we can hit our 1,000 mark. That way we can give away 5 days of goodies. Also, we have the 110, I guess is the way you can look at it. Every 110 days of consecutive growth, thanks to Blog Talk Radio and their new platform to give us our numbers. We have a way to track every single day if we're growing, every single day. We are 17 for 17 days. But more specifically, 110. We hit 110 days. The hosts of all these shows get rewarded. Cash reward. They're working very hard to make all this happen and making it very hard, working very hard to put on the best shows possible. Help them out. The shows. Check out a show maybe you normally don't catch. We got Monday through Friday, the 110 Nation Sports Show. We got Monday night. Yes, you've already missed it. You need to go back and catch it on the replay. Rubbing is Racing. Steve Gilbert and myself, we broke down Martinsville, talked about it for an hour and 15 minutes. Martinsville, stuff going on in the NASCAR world, upcoming weekend, Texas, and everything else. Thursday nights, you got Racing with Big Sweats. He gears toward local track racing. If it's asphalt, dirt, it don't matter. Then you got Saturdays. You got the Dirt Talk Hour. You got the Happy Hour Garage at noon on Saturday. And we wrap things up Sunday night, 9 p.m., the Dirt Talk Hour. about dirt track racing. Got plenty of opportunities. If you're already catching the show, spread the word. Let them know what's going on here. Help you, especially if you know some of these hosts and like these shows. Help the network continue to grow and help these guys working hard to be rewarded with a little chop change in the pocket. It ain't nothing big, but it's all coming out of my pocket, so anything's better than nothing. But in all seriousness, spread the word. Every day, we have 17 for 17. We're doing great. We got a great show lined up for you tonight. I got some topics this weekend. Oh, my God, we got some topics this weekend. But even more specifically, we have a very, very, yes, very special friend, the 110 Nation, return to the show tonight. We got Tommy Danger, the founder of More Than Just Me. You can catch them over at mtjm.org. They raise money for cystic fibrosis. They do a bunch of different things, and I'm not going to go into all the details of the things that Tommy does. I'll let him talk a little bit about that. But I got the opportunity to meet him, I want to say it's going on 3 years ago now. It might have been 3 years. At Bristol Motor Speedway. He happened to be the PR guy, the guy on the mic for 3M. And he was doing a little Twitter thing. We tweeted out. He shouted us out and wanted to talk to us. And from that moment forward, the story was written, and we've been part of each other's endeavor here. Him being a fan of the 110 Nation, us supporting More Than Just Me, having him on the show, help sponsor some of the stuff they have going on. And just love having the opportunity to have him come on the show. Just some of the things that he has done and the sacrifices that he makes and the dedication and the conditions he puts his body through to raise money for this is second to none. And it blows my mind when I hear the stories that he's already, to hear him talk about the things that he's done. I'm looking forward to having him on the show. Colin Kaepernick. Going to Denver, not going to Denver. Going to Denver, not going to Denver. Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick would rather keep getting his paycheck that the 49ers for some reason assigned him to this contract. He would rather get paid this money, sit on a team that is horrible, or stay with a team that is horrible, and not only stay with the team, but sit on the bench so he keeps getting his money, versus restructuring his contract and going to a Denver Bronco team, the defending champion Denver Broncos, where he'll be the starter. Because are you honestly going to make me believe that they're going to they're going to start Mark Sanchez over Colin Kaepernick? Yeah, I know that Colin Kaepernick's not that good of a quarterback, but this is Mark Sanchez. Come on. The tale of two stories. Two different sports, two different lifestyles, and yet both of them highly lucrative contracts. Both of them had some success. Some success at their respectable job, but they went two different directions. It's funny because you got Allen Iverson, who just got elected to the Hall of Fame. Him, Shaq, he didn't let the money change him. I'm watching this inductee, photo ops and all these pictures. Obviously, Coach Izzo, and there's a whole bunch of other people getting inducted as well. But the three players was Yao Ming, Shaq and Allen Iverson. Everybody else up there in suits and slacks and dressed up, and here's Allen Iverson still thugged out. Like, same Allen Iverson, baggy pants, jersey, whatever he was wearing. The same thing you expect out of Allen Iverson ever since day one, and it's something that'll never change out of Allen Iverson. And then you got Colin Kaepernick, who allowed the money to change him. Allen Iverson stayed himself. Kaepernick, money all of a sudden. I'm not going to take a contract. I'm not going to restructure my contract to go play for a penny Super Bowl champ and an opportunity to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, because it is more important for him to get that money and sit on the bench somewhere than take a restructured contract, get paid a little bit less, go play for a team that you have an opportunity to start and even an opportunity to go back to the Super Bowl, or go to the Super Bowl, go back because you've been in the Super Bowl, go back to the Super Bowl. It is funny how you can have one person, and you might not like how he acts. I know a lot of people frown upon how Allen Iverson dresses, and yes, it would have been nice with this being, such a big deal in the Hall of Fame. It would have been nice if you could have wore something, khaki pants, something somewhat, I don't know, more presentable. But who am I to judge? I really don't care. At least he was being Allen Iverson. Then you got a player that played almost all his career for free. Growing up, Pee Wee, youth league, high school, college. Getting in the NFL, you're supposed to appreciate what you got. Appreciate the opportunity to play on the biggest stage. And instead you let the money go to your head. You're not that good of a quarterback. Every year you've gotten statistically worse and worse. And every year you statistically got worse and worse, to the point that Blaine Gabbert became the starting quarterback. Whoever would have thought Blaine Gabbert would ever been a starting quarterback ever again after that old ordeal in Jacksonville. But then who would ever thought that Blaine Gabbert would have beat out Colin Kaepernick for the opportunity to be the starting quarterback? I even had friends texting me upset because all that, and basically not wanting to be a 49er, but because Denver's not going to give you a ridiculous contract because the 49ers only want to continue giving this ridiculous contract, he shows back up at the 49ers facilities to work out like nothing's happened. I just can't believe that you've been playing all these years for free. And now you have an opportunity to play on a Super Bowl, the defending Super Bowl champ. Yeah, maybe for a little less money than you're making now. And you would rather, because the money is that much important to you, you would rather go sit on the bench and get paid versus going somewhere where you're going to play, somewhere that now you are wanted, because this is going to put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. I can only imagine how disconnected it is going to be. And like I told the people messaging me earlier, it's going to come to a point that the 49ers are going to have to take less on a trade. Just take whatever they can just muster up, and whatever team is willing to actually give them anything. Or Colin Kaepernick is going to have to get over himself, and is going to have to play for a lesser amount. I have this bad feeling for the 49ers. I think you're the one that's going to lose out. I think eventually you're just going to have to trade Colin Kaepernick and just get whatever you can get out of the deal and be done with it. I understand it's probably going to take a pretty desperate team because the Denver Broncos are not willing to give up any money or give up and take over that contract. It's going to take a very desperate team willing to take over that contract. You got the class acts of every professional sport. You have players that are willing for the best interest of the team. This was kind of, I know a lot of people look down on the Big Three concept, but we've seen how effective the Big Three can work when it comes to Boston Celtics, when it comes to San Antonio Spurs, when it comes to the Miami Heat. It also says a lot about those players that they're willing to take a little less money to put these superstars together to increase their opportunities to win a NBA title. And then you got players like Colin Kaepernick that says, you know what, winning a championship's really not that important to me. I mean, let's be honest. Really, it's more about Colin Kaepernick. It's more about making sure that my bank account is as fat as it can possibly get before I no longer can find a team stupid enough to give me a contract, knowing that I'm maybe an above-average player. I mean, essentially, that's where we're at this point. There's no guarantee that the 49ers are going to keep Kaepernick benched. He could beat out Blaine Gabbert. Who knows? Gabbert can go back to being the Blaine Gabbert that we know and get benched. Who knows? There's also the possibility that this team will continue going in the direction that they were last year, and that was Colin Kaepernick on the field, Blaine Gabbert on the field, and Colin Kaepernick picking splinters out his posterior end. I mean, kind of how it flows sometimes. I don't know, it just blows my mind that you have so little appreciation for the game. I mean, a game that you've been playing your whole life for nothing. Shows you how little appreciation he has. That right there shows you what kind of player Colin Kaepernick is. It also lets you know that Colin Kaepernick is not a team player. That Colin Kaepernick is only worried about Colin Kaepernick. I understand that players need to get paid. I also understand that the contract that the 49ers were giving up was also based on him actually performing at some kind of level, not being the garbage that we've gotten to know out of Colin Kaepernick. Throwing interceptions left and right, and I believe that he has that stuff on himself that he is not willing to take any kind of pay cut. We're pulling up. We're not going to count 2011. He stepped in 2012, partway into the season, 2.4%, 1,800 yards, but also was doing a lot of running on the ground with 415 yards. 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 98.3. Then the 2013 season rolls in, drops from a 62% to a 58%, does throw for almost 3,200 yards. So he picked up 1,400 yards in 3 more games. The interceptions started to climb up. You were 21 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Your quarterback rating still in the 90s. Then you start continue to drop in the next season of 2014. You jump back up to 60%, but 3,300 yards, 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. It's the touchdowns and the interceptions just continue to climb. 86.4, and then last year you play in 9 games, you complete 59%, only throw for 1,600 yards, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 78.5. Like I said, every year has been going down since that first year he came in. A quarterback rating at 98, now is all the way down to a 78. Just continually gets worse. Fumbling the ball, it's beyond ridiculous how much this man fumbles the ball. And passing on drop back passing stats, he's got 9 fumbles. In his running, he's got 9 since you're looking at 28. You're looking at 28 fumbles, just in 4 seasons. That's pretty extensive there. So you're looking at 28. You're looking at 54 interceptions and fumbles, 54 to only 67 touchdowns. So I mean, you're not. 49ers contract was set up for one thing. He performs a different way. It gets to the bench. I would like to say I don't blame Kaepernick because you're just trying to get paid, but there's obviously no future with you, the 49ers. All you did was just now drive a wedge between you and the players, wedge between you and the front office, and now you are putting yourself out there as, okay, I would just rather get paid to sit on a bench than go somewhere where I'm actually wanted and appreciated and is going to have playing time. I just don't make sense to me. I'm sorry. Golden State. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. First of all, no NBA games tonight as the national title game for the NCAA is tonight. Of course, it's lost a lot of interest when there's really nobody in it that anybody's really caring about this points. And, I mean, you watch UNC win, which nobody really cares, and nobody really expected UNC to actually be this far, but that's what happens when the toughest team you play all the way through the tournament was a 6-seeded team, and then Villanova. Villanova, you're rather impressive against Oklahoma. I give you that. Now, Oklahoma was my team that I had picked to win it all, and not only did you beat Oklahoma, you embarrassed Oklahoma. It was like, 45 points or something? It's crazy to me to it was crazy to me to see how much that Villanova put the beat down on Oklahoma. That just made no sense in that game. But really, it's a national title game that's lost a lot of its sparkle. There's really nobody there. I mean, nobody expected UNC or Villanova, and it's just really 2 teams that really people just don't have a lot of invested interest in. And so not only are we without the NBA tonight, and then we have a national title game, and it's just bleh. But Golden State, been talking about this for a month now. Been talking about it for a month. Granted, you won last night. I give you that. But you lost to Boston. San Antonio's not changed their thought process to this point. I really wish they would. They have still not rethought their thought process. That win right there with the Boston win over Golden State in Golden State, which hadn't happened since like January of 2014 or 2015. I'm sorry, or no, 2015. I mean, it's been ridiculously long time since it was like 54 games, longest streak. Boston was very impressive. I got to admit, and I said that, you know, it was big teams that, you know, I still had Golden State winning, but Boston's been one of the hottest teams in the second half of the season, at least in the Eastern Conference side of the house, and the talent's there, and there was no reason that they couldn't do it. And they went into Golden State. That was my only concern, was the fact that they were going into Golden State. But they went into Golden State, and not only did they beat Golden State, they went into Golden State and do it. And it was a fun game to watch. But everybody that I've had this conversation with, leading up to this loss, and now even after this loss, everybody come looking for me. After Golden State lost, it was a hot conversation at my job. I have to admit, very hot conversation. I really, really wish. I don't care about the only 2 games, and Portland was another one of those games, and we didn't know if Damian Lillard would how he would. And I want to go on the record and say, Scottie Pippen, if you honestly believe that the Chicago Bulls team would sweep this Golden State team, you are sadly mistaken. I'm not saying that this Golden State team would beat you guys at best of 7, but I'm also saying that there's no way you can convince me that Chicago team would sweep the Golden State Warriors 4 games to none. It just no. 2 losses is all for nothing. And this is why even a month ago I was talking about I don't like what Golden State is doing. I would be resting my players. And it showed. When they barely beat Washington, Utah takes you to overtime, and you lose to Boston. Yes, you got a bounce-back game with Portland, and you handled that rather well. But there was too many variables, too many factors, too many things that could happen that makes it all for none. And I'm sorry, but I want an opportunity to rest my players and get the maximum out of them during the playoffs. We got 5 games left. Golden State's got to win 4 out of 5. Got to. This is where I wish Greg Popovich. I tell you right now, Popovich, if you go all in on these 2 games, I don't care about the rest of your games, and nor does anybody else. You go all in on those 2 games, you will have mad respect from everybody but probably Golden State fans. I wish that they would go all in. And it's funny because I don't have a problem with Golden State doing this record. There are certain things you don't get to see in your lifetime. And yes, I was alive when the 95-96 Bulls did it. But I didn't really pay that close attention to what was going on. I was more into what I had going on in life. The most I watched was either some Ohio State Buckeye games or the Cleveland Browns. That was the only teams that I would sit down and actually watch. I was never a Bulls fan. Never. I have a lot of respect for the Chicago Bulls. I have a lot of respect for the players. It's not the stupid stuff to say, like Scottie Pippen saying that. I still have respect for Scottie Pippen, but you lose respect when you hear stupid stuff come out of people's mouth like that. Come on, you really honestly think you're going to sweep the Golden State Warriors? Unless you had some magical power or some player out there that I don't recall that could shut down Steph Curry and not let him get a single three-pointer, and Klay Thompson, or the possibility of Harrison Barnes or Draymond Green getting hot. No, there's no way that you would. Like that, I think you could beat the Golden State Warriors. I'm looking more of a 6-7 game series. I'm not looking at 4 and done. I don't have a problem with them going, and if they get it, I don't have a problem with them getting it either. Because there's certain things that I've never got to see. And there's some things in your lifetime that you don't get to witness. I'm sorry, but I was cheering on the New England Patriots to go undefeated because I wasn't around when the 72 Dolphins, or the 46, 48 Browns, whatever year that was. I wasn't alive for either one of those. It don't happen very often. It was, 24 years or so, 25 years in between runs and undefeated seasons. Both times. Not something that happens very often. So, or 35 years. 25 the first one, 26 the first one, and 35, 45. How many years? 35 years, yeah. So, I don't have a problem with Golden State going for it. I just think that Golden State is got their focus on the wrong thing. They should have been more concerned and more focused and more worried about the big picture. And that's where I have the issue. This is what I've been talking about when I think they still had like 20 games at the time. That was my issue then. That is still my issue now. Is going for this record really that important? Knowing that there's a possibility that you're going to be playing a fresh San Antonio team the way that they're doing it. Because even if Golden State would have done it, even if they would have won every game at the time, and I think they had like 3 or 4 games that they could have lost at that point in time, maybe 3 games. I can't remember how many games at that point in time. Once they got it, it wasn't like they were going to stop. They weren't going to get to 73-9 and say, you know what, we still got 2 more games. Let's just go ahead and rest. No, they were going to go for broke. They were going to put the best possible record in that record book that they possibly could have put, regardless, either way. So either way, at that point, they were all in on it. Focused on the wrong thing. If you could have got this record and not let your head get bigger than what it was and just left it at going to 73-9, and you would have spent the last 2 or 3 games resting, or 5 games, if you would have been, you would have lost some of the meaningless games that you lost, I'd have been all for it too. But know that you got to win at least 4 out of 5. That means you got to be all in on your efforts 4 out of 5 games. Now, there was somebody that said that they would like to see Golden State win Minnesota tomorrow night, Thursday night, beat San Antonio, Saturday, set themselves up where even if they lose in San Antonio, that all they got to do is beat Memphis and still got that record. And they said what they would like to see happen is just Golden State bring nobody, like all your bench players, and that's it. To kind of just say F you. One, we know that's not going to happen. But second of all, I wish Golden State, I wish San Antonio, I wish Popovich would be the man. I am begging you, Greg Popovich, excuse me, if you are listening to the show tonight, you would gain mad respect from a lot of NBA fans. If Thursday's night game at the Oracle Stadium, or Oracle Arena, and Sunday night's game at home, if you went all in to make them go short of that record. They might tie the record. That don't mean jack. I'm sorry. You go all in and not resting your players to go just 73-9, or 72-10, means nothing to me. It means nothing to nobody. It only means something if you go 73-9 or better. That's the only way that it means anything. How freaking awesome would it be I mean, it's not like San Antonio's really got to exonerate a lot of energy. They're very, very deep. Use a little bit of Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Parker in both the games. Not an extreme amount. With Leonard, Green, Aldridge. I mean, it's a very deep team. I still think it's insane that there's, 64-12? And they're still not getting any respect. They still hardly being. Do people not understand that they're only 2 games off from having tied the best record as well? I mean, do they not realize that? Everybody's concerned about them and talking about OKC, and it still blows my mind. And on top of that, I know that San Antonio is not concerned about having an undefeated season. I would want to set myself up. And what's crazy is if they win out, they would take a lot of win out. San Antonio's only got two home games left. I'm sorry, I know that they're not all about going undefeated this season at home, but I would. I mean, it would make a statement at the same time. If you beat Golden State at home and beat Oklahoma at home, both games in San Antonio, finish your season undefeated, and you beat the first and third seeded team going into the tournament, how does that now speak to the masses? I mean, San Antonio's got a very, I'm not going to say very easy schedule, but a schedule that is very winnable. I mean, Utah, Golden State, Denver, Golden State, Oklahoma City, and Dallas. It's tough, but all those games are winnable. I just wish that I just wish Popovich, I don't even care if he ever just announced it, just showed up and just put it all out on the court. And we get to watch San Antonio prevent. That would be some phenomenal stuff. All that for nothing. All that thought. I know people are like, all year long we built that up. And I'm more interested in the fact that since you went all in, and you know what really makes things even tougher for that San Antonio game is the second San Antonio game. And basically, you got a Thursday night game. You're playing San Antonio at home. Golden State is. Then you travel to Memphis on Saturday, and then you travel to San Antonio and play Golden State that very next night. That's a lot of bouncing around. That's a lot of travel. It is very possible to happen. And I wish that, like that, I wish Popovich would say, you know what, they don't know what's about to happen to them. Let's go ahead and show them how much time they wasted. We're rested. Yeah, we'll take care of business in those 2 games. Even the Oklahoma game, I'd like to see them take care. I'd like to see them go undefeated at home this season. That would be really cool. Golden State. How about Boston? They beat Lakers last night, even with Kobe Bryant putting on one hell of a performance. Something we ain't seen out of Kobe too often this year, and it was a real nice change of pace to see Kobe Bryant have the season or have the game that he had, putting up 34 points, 4 rebounds, 3 steals. Losing effort, but nonetheless, at least it was an effort. Boston Celtics clinched themselves a playoff berth, so not surprised. I think they're probably about the third-seeded team. So really not a surprise at all. Gives us hope for an interesting playoff. NASCAR traveled to Martinsville this weekend. Interesting race, fun race. Kyle Busch dominated once again, 352 laps led out of the 500 laps. It didn't really seem like he had dominated the race. Like it just, there was so much other stuff going on. We got to learn so much more cool stuff about NASCAR and the rules. You know, this whole time I thought that, I'm not going to say a radar gun, but it's something similar. You know, that's just what I never really looked into the rule book. That's kind of what I'm visualizing, is them using a radar gun, and they just kind of zap you around the scoring loop or the scoring line or the time, you know, the line where they you know, just kind of honestly what I thought it was just some kind of radar gun, and if you went at that line, you was going too fast, they stopped you, and that's not actually what happened. And we learned that, and there's a lot of Dale Jr. fans that learned this the hard way. They were really upset this weekend. They thought that Kyle Busch was getting away with speeding down pit road, and they weren't too happy with that. But yeah, we learned quickly that your time, if the line's 50 foot, they figure out how long you should take to get from line to line at the speed that you're allowed to travel, and they figure out how long it should take you to get from line to line with the allowance 5 miles an hour difference. And that's how they dictate whether or not you are basically staying underneath the speed limit. Okay, but you also got to factor in, if you have a pit stall within that, that means your time is going to be altered because you had a pit stop. So you can shoot out of your pits real quick and at least get to the next line at however fast you want to get, because you're not going to get violated. You're not going to be in violation from that. The first, you know, the line, you know, the first 50-foot line or whatever it is, 50 foot, that your pit stall was in, because you had that 12 seconds on there that, you know, normally you wouldn't take. And Martinsville showed us that works, and it works more specifically if you're in that last group of cars, you know, the first 5 or so odd pit stops, because you can go out of pits as fast as you want, because you're not going to get into violation at the time. And you saw that at Matt Kenseth, saw that at Kyle Busch. And so it was really cool to be able to learn something new. And I definitely learned that this weekend. I also learned that Kyle Busch is a class act. It don't matter if you like Kyle Busch, you hate Kyle Busch, if you wish that Kyle Busch never raced again. After you had the opportunity to see the video, and I know every NASCAR fan has seen it, and almost anybody that follows any kind of sports on NASCAR, on Facebook, has seen the video. But after the race, we got an opportunity to see Kyle Busch stuck in traffic with the fans as he was leaving the track. But obviously, I guess they were going somewhere, him and his wife. You hear the dog in the background. Most of the times, every track I'm into, they fly out and head to the next one. So obviously, they had some stuff there to go do or whatever the case may be. But it was funny because in the video, you watch him pull up up next to somebody and kind of wave, or, you know, honk the horn and kind of wave, and you can see the person sitting in the car is a Kyle Busch fan. They have a M&M's 18 hat on, and they just kind of looked and looked back, and you can hear his wife say, "Roll down your window." Maybe they didn't see you, so he rolls down his window and hey, and when the fan looks back the second time after a second of looking, she realizes that that's Kyle Busch sitting in the car next to him saying, "Hey," and she goes crazy. Like, she is next to her favorite driver. And Kyle Busch asked for a hat so he can go ahead and get her hat signed and everything else. It was really cool. And like I said, you know, regardless if you're a Kyle Busch fan or not, and I saw this a lot on Facebook with people that shared it or commented on it, regardless if you're a Kyle Busch fan or not, you had to have a lot of respect you had to have a lot of respect for what Kyle Busch did. There's just not a lot of athletes that you get a witness and see sitting in a traffic jam, first of all. Most of them, they're escorted out, either fly out or have, someone else driving or whatever the case may be, and they just kind of mind their own business and either spend quality time with the family or talking to somebody or whatever. And but to see him not only, sitting in traffic and just being a normal person, takes the opportunity to sign a hat and make a fan's day, especially sitting in that traffic. And for anybody that's left any kind of sporting event, you know how miserable you can be. Sitting in traffic waiting what seems like, for eternity before you finally get out of the traffic. So, I don't know, it was just really cool. And like that, regardless, and we were talking about, not only that, and then talk about his bow, the fact that he bowed after you, which is, and for those that don't know much about Kyle Busch, it's kind of his way to give the bird to the haters. Obviously, he can't flip nobody off, and obviously, the way NASCAR is, you can't even really express your displeasure on something over the radio without possibly getting in trouble, which we talked about that on another show. Matter of fact, we talked about that here on the 110 Sports Show last Thursday. So this is kind of his way to say, you know what, F you, as he takes his bow. And it's just, but to see him go from that and win the race and be sitting in traffic and make a fan's night, I thought that was extremely, extremely cool. For those that are interested on what's going on tonight's national title game, Carolina is up 25-23 with about 6.5 minutes left in the first half. We will keep you updated throughout the show. I meant to bring you an update a little bit earlier, and I forgot. Major League Baseball underway as we got Arizona at home against Colorado. They get ready to go to the bottom of the first, still tied at 0. Toronto's in Tampa Bay. They are in the bottom of the 8th. Tampa Bay does have 1 on, but they do have 2 outs. Toronto is up 5-3. Arizona and St. Louis, no, NHL. Sorry, Dodgers and San Diego. Wow. Dodgers are up 15-0 in the top of the 8th. Got a man on third and 2 outs. Later on tonight, Chicago Cubs against the Angels, the Chicago White Sox against Oakland. And then earlier today, we had Washington over Atlanta in 10 innings. Seattle traveling into Texas. Texas wins 3-2. Baltimore at home over Minnesota 3-2. Cincinnati at home over Philadelphia 6-2. And on the ice, baby. Arizona, St. Louis. Arizona's up 2-1. They are in St. Louis at the end of the second. Florida and Toronto, they're up 3-0 with 15 left in the third. And then earlier tonight, we saw the Rangers over Columbus 4-2 in Columbus. Islanders at home over Tampa Bay 5-2. And later on tonight, you got the Kings over the Kings playing Vancouver at 10 p.m. in Vancouver. Tell you what, they got a power ranking today. Of course, Golden State, San Antonio 1-2. They got Cleveland moved up to number 3. I don't know if I quite agree with that, especially when I watched them go up by 21 points at home and almost lose that game. That was horrible. And they went on to beat Charlotte, which that was obviously a good thing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I don't think they're the third best team out there. There's too many what if factors. If Cleveland and they end up beating Charlotte 112 to 103. If Cleveland is clicking on all cylinders, yes, they are by far one of the best teams in the NBA. And a lot of people took the night off to include Kyrie Irving, but Richard Jefferson, James Jones, a lot of people taking time off as they've already started the rest of their players. Which a lot of people are wondering and questioning whether or not this makes this team a better team without Kyrie Irving on the court. And that's been one of those debates. One of those debates that has been stirring the pot as of lately. J.R. Smith 6 for 9 in that game, and Kevin Love 5 for 8. They're just phenomenal from the 3-point range, 16 of 29. But I can't put Cleveland in the top 3. I am really concerned. And I think the biggest mistake that they made was, and it was that Atlanta game, that they were up by 21 points, and we watched Atlanta just chisel away before they Cleveland finally won 110 to 108. But I think, honestly, they probably made, their mistake that they probably made was the fact that they let Anderson Varejao go. I think, honestly, they are still kicking themselves in the butt for that. I think it would have made more sense to get rid of Mozgov. Even though he's a big body, he's just a big, clumsy body. He's, I don't know, I've not been impressed with him this year. Last year, I think he held his weight. This year, I don't so much agree with whether or not he is holding his own. And I think, honestly, Mozgov being out there, or Anderson Varejao being out there would be a much better situation. Or I ain't kept up with much of Sasha Khan, but it's clumsy, and as much as Mozgov is not performing to the level that I'm expecting to, kind of just wish that we'd have looked into more options or a better rotation. I think that's a key piece. Tristan Thompson can only do so much out there, and obviously he's consuming most of the time out there at the center position. But, because of his athletic abilities and of course, because of his size, it's not like he could play the whole game. And I mean, he's only playing 28 minutes as it is. And unfortunately for Tristan Thompson, last night was not one of those games either. With just 6 rebounds. I know just that 6 rebounds. With 6 rebounds. Shani Fry was off last night. Last night as well with that 1 for 5. But I don't know. I have my concerns. Right now I think I probably have more confidence in Miami or Boston than I have in my own Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I might just be paranoid and concerned that I'm about to watch be upset in another NBA Finals, but I don't know. I mean, I'm expecting and have expected a lot more out of the Cleveland Cavaliers to this point than I've gotten to see. And Alden Smith signs for a 2-year has a 2-year deal with the Oakland Raiders, which are obviously that's depending a lot on whether or not it's 1 year suspension up if they let him back in the NFL. I think reports that 49ers really had nothing but good things to say about Alden Smith. Just had a lot of off-the-field issues to be taken care of. And thought was interesting. We've had this discussion. That the Oakland Raiders were only a couple pieces away, and if Alden Smith keeps his off the field issues to a minimum and can perform at the level that we know that Alden Smith can perform at for the Oakland Raiders, that could be one of those few pieces that the Oakland Raiders have. I tell you what, Mark Sanchez being the quarterback, or even Colin Kaepernick being the quarterback, if that ever works out for the Denver's already got me. San Diego, I was expecting so much more of you last year, so I'm not going to put a lot of them. And Kansas City, you've gotten better and better. I just don't think Kansas City is that team. I think that we have seen the ceiling for that team. I think that they have maxed out of what we're going to see out of that Kansas City Chiefs team. Oakland's that X factor to me. Oakland is that team that if they can find the right one or two pieces on each side of the ball, and of course drafting a good piece is critical, I think that this Oakland team can take the West. I don't think that they're Super Bowl ready. I think your Baltimore team and the additions they made are a better team. I think that the Steelers are a better team, even with Bryant going out with the suspension. Patriots obviously a better team. I think that there's still too many better teams out there, but it's a sign of how far this Oakland Raider team has come, where this Oakland Raider team can go, and they take the West, or at least put themselves, but I think they're above just putting themselves in an opportunity for a wild card. I think another piece or two, and we're in the conversation of them being AFC West champion. That's the step that happens this year, like I foresee. That's only a building block, a foundation to where you should be, where you're going to here in the next couple of years. And honestly, if they keep going the way this team has been building, and these players don't get greedy. You don't get a player that says, you know what, I would rather get paid somewhere else and sit the bench versus come and take less money to be part of something. Then this Oakland team can definitely find themselves in the Super Bowl. But it's all about finding those pieces that fit. It's almost like putting the team together like the San Antonio Spurs and the Golden State Warriors. I know I'm jumping from sport, but all those pieces are perfect pieces. I'm sorry, those are just two teams that, especially Golden State, that doesn't excel in superstar power. Yes, you got two guys that can hit the deep ball like no other team. As a matter of fact, they're the first team to have 1,000 3-pointers made in a season. Harrison Barnes, by no stretch of the imagination, is even an all-star player. Livingston, not an all-star player. Baggett or Andrew Baggett, however you pronounce his name, not an all-star player. Draymond Green is an all-star player, but he's not an elite player. Klay Thompson, all-star player, but I wouldn't put him as an elite player. Now, Steph Curry, he's everything and above. So I think that they have a lot of perfect pieces that fit together. So is San Antonio. But San Antonio, to me, is a little bit deeper in talent. With Tony Parker, Ginobili, and Tim Duncan, then you add Kawhi Leonard, who's becoming an elite player in his own, and LaMarcus Aldridge and what he brings to the table. And I'm not going to say he's elite, but he's at least all-star level. And there's a couple of the pieces on that team that are pretty good, but I think that they put those pieces together really good as well. And we kind of seen it with Denver. They didn't come out and blow us away, but they had the perfect pieces to go through and win a Super Bowl. So I think Oakland is getting themselves, as long as they can find those perfect pieces, and there's not too many pieces left for that puzzle to be complete. I can see them honestly winning the AFC West this year if they do it right. And I can see them only, being a season or two away from finding us seeing the Oakland Raiders back at the Super Bowl. With Carr playing at the level he's playing, and Amari Cooper from Alabama, and what we've seen him out of him just as a rookie. And then watching Crabtree come, sign with Oakland and having the season he had, and being the veteran leader that he has been. This Oakland team, and then adding that they're comparing this offensive line to the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. Like, we're not expecting Carr to get hit. I mean, that's how impressive this offensive line is. And mark my words. Oakland's just about there, and it is scary because they're a young team, and this is not a team just thrown together. This is a team that's been assembled very carefully. Be very scared, especially if you're in the West, especially if you're a Kansas City, Denver, or San Diego fan. Be very scared. 10 o'clock. Hard to believe we are here already. Been waiting for this, though. Been waiting for 10 o'clock to roll around. Get an opportunity to bring a friend of the show on. Tommy has been on the show at least a handful of times, I want to say. Probably the most giving, the most kind-hearted, probably the most generous person that I have probably ever met. To give up a career in what he was doing for a bigger purpose, for a better cause, and to be able to be so impactful in so many people's lives and be so happy. And I get the opportunity to see a lot more than a lot of people because I have friends with him on Facebook, and I get to imagine what it's like to see some of the places that he gets to see through his pictures. Yes, I don't get to travel much. I go to racing events and different sporting events. That's like the extent of my travels, other than Gatlinburg once a year, and we do the same thing every year. And I'm not complaining because we love it to death, and we'll continue to do the same thing every single time we go to Gatlinburg. But this is kind of my way to experience the world through photography and the More Than Just Me way. So very, very excited to have the opportunity to not only have him on the show, but be able to see what goes on and kind of live through the pictures and some of the cool stuff that I've got to see just because of what he's posting on Facebook, some of the stuff that he's climbed, some of the pictures in Alaska, just crazy to me. And glad to have him back on, be able to come back on, promote an event that they got coming up in 2 weeks, two Saturdays from now, and looking forward to catch up with Tommy and find out what's going on since the last time we've had him on the show, what 2016 is looking, and what else we got planned for the year. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get Tommy on the show. How are you doing tonight, Tommy?
How's it going, man? I'm great. How are you?
I am doing great. It's
honor. Can you hear me okay? Because right now I'm on my car Bluetooth.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
In the car in California.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Before we jump into this, I want to give you an opportunity to plug yourself or more specifically, More Than Just Me, where they can find it, the website, the Facebook, Twitter, anything you guys have going on over there. That way the listeners can know a little bit more about More Than Just Me.
Yeah, absolutely. So the More Than Just Me Foundation we started a couple of years ago, almost 3 years ago now. And the whole concept of the foundation is based around two things mostly, and that's love and adventure. And we try to use both of those to drive awareness and drive funds to different causes around the world. And, we do that through, I like to call epic adventures. We've done multiple things from riding our bike across the country to running across the country to now we're doing a project known as Just Mountains, where we're climbing the 7 summits around the world. And a lot of people don't know the 7 summits. And what it is, it's the highest peak on every continent. And, yes, that means Everest as well, because everyone asks, like, oh, are you climbing Everest? Hopefully within the next year we'll be climbing Everest, but we're still working on that right now. But that is our biggest project. This most recent project, More Than Just Mountains, is to raise a lot of awareness and funds for a genetic disease known as cystic fibrosis. So we're about halfway through this campaign. We've climbed 4 of the 7, including Africa, Europe, South America, and just recently, last May, North America up in Alaska. But, I mean, if you want to follow along on our journeys, you can go to our website that we just revamped. We're still working on it a little bit, but you can go on there and see some of our videos and meet some of our athletes and everything, and that's mtjm.org. And it's just More Than Just Me, the first letter of each word, .org. And then, of course, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, all the social medias. If you just go to MTJME, the / MTJME or the handle, you can find everything that we're doing. And as you mentioned, one of the biggest things that's coming up is our largest event out of the whole year, which is the More Than Just Miles 5K. And it's crazy to think that in about a week I have to fly over to Florida to start, putting some flyers up and prepping for that following Saturday.
What is the More Than Just Miles for those that don't know what it is? What goes on at More Than Just Miles?
So More Than Just Miles, it happens in Daytona, Florida. And just kind of give you a little history on everything. In 2012, in September, I took off on a run from Seattle, Washington, and over the next 6 months, I ran just under 3,200 miles, finishing on the beach in Daytona Beach, a cross-country run, and that was all for cystic fibrosis as well. And where I finished, exactly where I finished on the beach, is where this 5K starts and ends. It's a loop down the street and back on the beach. And all of it's to raise awareness for CF, to bring funds in for CF. But really, the biggest thing that we want to do with this 5K is to give the ultimate experience to that person that is suffering from cystic fibrosis. And we do that in a couple ways. One, we have ghost runners. If you can't make it to Florida, we completely understand. It's not easy to get to Florida if you don't live in Florida. So you can be a ghost runner, and then you're participating because you're running a 5K wherever you're at. You still get a T-shirt, a bib, a race medal. But the most fun that you can get out of this whole event is if you do make it to Florida. And with the CFers, that's what if you have cystic fibrosis, that's kind of their nickname, CFers. And they're able to run or walk or just be a part of the event absolutely free. It doesn't cost them anything. And each year we've kind of gone up and up in our registrations, and not just with our runners, but also with our CFers. Our first year we had 12 people with cystic fibrosis show up. And then last year we had, which was our second year, we had 49 show up. And this year we have over 100 people with cystic fibrosis supposed to be in Daytona April 16th, 2016, which as of right now in 2016 is the largest active CF event in the world, which is kind of cool to say.
Wow. That is. And at the beginning of your story, I just kind of had to chuckle a little bit. You were like, yeah, in September 2012, I decided to take a run. And then you went from Seattle all the way to Florida. That's just more than just taking a run there. How many events do you guys do a year now?
Well, last year, our goal has always been 2 or 3, but this year we're really focusing just on the one event because we want to put everything into our 5K and build it into something beyond anything we can even think of. So we're really putting everything into the 5K. We have the More Than Just Mountains project going on, so we're focusing on that. And these next final 3 mountains are 3 big mountains that we you can't just hop on the mountain and climb up it. You really got to get your training in. You got to have your knowledge on the mountains, or they can, the mountains are very deadly. And then we're releasing a new project as well called More Than Just Me TV. And we actually released the first episode in December just kind of as a teaser, and the second episode will be coming out right after the 5K. And then we'll hopefully be able to release an episode every single month. And what More Than Just Me TV is all about is we're going to be filming our adventures. We're going to be filming people affected by our causes, our athletes, some of our sponsors around the world. And we want to show people the good that's going on around the world. We see so much negative, whether it's in the news or it's in politics or war or whatever it is. And we really want to shine a light on the good deeds that are happening in our world today, because there's a lot going on that people don't see, and they're changing lives for the better. So many people speak of how much, Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. But in all reality, what about Joe Schmo that's on the corner helping, a disease or a homeless person eat, or helping an orphan drink clean water? We don't hear about a lot of that. The media doesn't want to share that positive vibe. So More Than Just Me TV does. So it's all high production. We got John Burkett in the house. He's based out of Wilmington. He does all of our camera, our photography. He's the genius behind the camera. And he's doing this all absolutely pro bono free, no cost, and we're going to be traveling around different parts of the country, different parts of the world, telling people stories and letting people see what more than just me and being bigger than yourself is all about.
And I caught that first video. It is a very, very good video, very high quality. I was really impressed. I'm not gonna lie. Part of me was jealous because I was like, how are these people doing this? Like, I'm trying to figure out, record stuff, trying to come up with something somewhat close to the quality. But hands down, it was a very good video, and the quality of it was great, and I was really impressed with it.
Is to kind of have that high production, but also makes it kind of some fun stuff that I can shoot just with my iPhone as well, because I don't mind doing that at all either. We just the whole point behind it is really to showcase these amazing stories going on. And I'll tell you right now, we have a ton of them lined up, and we have a ton more that we want to go explore. We want to go video some people. One of them that I'm super excited about, it's either going to be episode 3 or episode 4, is this little boy named Logan. Now, Logan's 5 years old, and Logan was born with cystic fibrosis, which is already a challenge. I mean, you're talking treatments every single day. You have hospital stays. You're taking 60 pills a day just to digest your food and make sure your lungs stay healthy. But when Logan turned 4 years old, he was diagnosed with neuroblastoma cancer. So he not only just had cystic fibrosis hit him, when he was born, but now he's got a deadly cancer. This has only happened 3 times ever in history, recorded history. So we went and we filmed him, and he's one of the most intelligent little boys I've ever met in my life. And it's just a great story. And I'm just excited to show people these little, I call them mini superheroes, because there's a lot of them all over the world. And we really want to shine a light on these superheroes, the people that are a part of it, the families that are a part of it. And I feel like if we do that, it's going to be such a positive vibe that's going to create this amazing ripple that's just going to want to make people do good things for other people, want to make people learn about these causes and how they can be the bigger version of themselves.
How much traveling do you do? It just seems that every time I see pictures or hear you talk, you've been here, there, and everywhere. How much traveling do you do when it comes to doing the more than just me stuff?
I will tell you this. This past August, I got married, so it's cut about in half, which is a good thing. It's a good thing, but I want to say for a while I would fly around 250,000 miles a year, so about 10 times around the globe. And then, you mix a lot of driving in there. And luckily I have an amazing wife that's been able to put up with that for now. So she's like, hurry up and get these mountains done so I can spend some more time with you. But what's great about my wife, too, is that she puts me to shame when we go hiking or whatever. I cannot keep up with her. She's just a speed demon out there. So we like to go and enjoy it. She doesn't really care for the super high peaks, but she'll go up to 14,000 feet with me. She'll, go kayaking and scuba diving and all that kind of fun stuff. So she is my perfect fit for sure. But I do travel a lot. But I love travel. I mean, you get to see not just different parts of our country, but different parts of our globe. You get to see different cultures. You get to see different attitudes, different lifestyles, and it really makes you appreciate your own life. And one of the biggest things I read years ago is that, when we're like down and we're like, man, life is just not good right now, and I'm struggling with this and this and this. No matter how hard your life is, somewhere in the world, your hell is someone's heaven. And to think about that, to think of my lowest point, someone is dying to have that life, it makes me really realize, I don't have much to complain about. And I don't. I still find myself complaining. But we need to look at what's going on in our world, because if you walk outside your door, and if you can listen to this broadcast and you're in the United States and you walk outside your door, that is not the world. That is the United States or the area that you live. But the world is a very different place. If you ever get to explore, I've been able to go into the slums of Africa and Kenya and South Africa and to see, some of the people I meet, and they tell me, like, yes, I was born right over there. And right over there is literally a mud floor with no roof and just some walls, and that's where they were born. So it's crazy to hear some of these stories, and it really opens your mind, and it truly opens your heart. And I'm very lucky. I'm a very lucky man to be able to travel the way I've been able to.
And I'll tell you what, when I joined the military when I was 18 years old and got to go overseas, and I was in Croatia, Bosnia, and Hungary, and going over there and seeing how they had to live right after, it was right after they had all their conflict over there, and seeing people hang their clothes and be able to actually see them from the outside because there's part of their walls missing and bullet holes and rounds that went through their houses that were like size of baseballs or bigger. I quickly learned that no matter how bad I thought I had it or will ever think I have it, there are so many people that have it worse than I do, and that is still how I look at it. No matter how bad it is now, I know that there's somebody out there that has it a lot worse than I do, and I'm just grateful for the fact that I was given another day that I was not guaranteed, and thankful that I have a job and my family's healthy, and just roll from that. Everything else, that just kind of child's play to me because there's so much worse that could be going on. Now, see, that's what I get for talking. I remember what I was going to say now. When you walked away from everything you was doing to do more than just me, did you ever imagine it being, even just quickly, being as big as it is and having the influence that it's had on people's lives already this quick or ever, really?
I really didn't. When, in 2007, kind of a lot of my whole life started to change. I was 25 years old. I was from a small town in Indiana, and I was kind of terrified to expand my mind and my life. I'd tell my friends, like, hey, I'm going to go to California. Who's coming with? And no one would come with me, so then I wouldn't go. But I finally met one of my best friends to this day, Carl Drew, and he was an adventurer. He told me some of the adventures he'd done. It almost seemed unreal. And we ended up planning a trip where we would ride our bike from L.A. to Boston, and we did that in 2007. And that just completely opened my mind. And when I was done, I was so excited. I remember jumping into the ocean Atlantic, and it was freezing. And I got out, and I'm like, what's next? Because I wanted to keep pursuing what we were doing, but I knew there was a bigger cause to it and a bigger reasoning. But it took 5 years before the run happened. And when the run came around, I left for Seattle knowing one person that had cystic fibrosis, and that was the little boy that I was running for, little Ethan. And I had no idea the way it would not just grow but change the lives. Every day I ran, I made a little video blog of the day and everything. And I remember when I finished in Florida and there was no more video blogs, and I would get email after email like, hey, you should keep doing video blogs. We miss your video blogs. We were inspired by these. And I didn't know how to respond because I'm like, today I did the dishes and then I went inside. It wasn't as exciting as the run.
Yeah. And
it really made me realize how many lives the run touched, and for it to go from a little run into a foundation, and a foundation with the amazing volunteers that we have on board. The staff that I have on board, they don't make a penny. I don't make a penny from this. Right now we're putting all of our efforts into this to try to grow it so we can change people's lives. And it's just amazing. I still get emails all the time of thank you for what you're doing. And I'm the guy that it's really hard to take that in. I've always been the guy that's I'm not good with compliments, because the way my mind looks at this is how every human should be. Not necessarily running across the country, but we need to all love each other. We're all we get caught up, and I do it as well. We get caught up in I need this, and I need to do this for me, and I need to do this. But in all reality, if I did something for you, and you did something for John, and John did something for Carol. We're all going to be in this awesome, happy circle where we're helping each other, and it's not like, well, like John did something for me, so I guess I got to do something for someone else. It just comes natural. And love is something that I feel like is so, like, people are so terrified. And I'm not just saying, like, being in love. I'm saying loving the world. Like, we're so terrified. If I walked out on the street here in San Diego and I walked up to some random dude and I just said, hey, man, I want to let you know that I love you and I hope you have a great life, I'd probably get punched. There's a good chance. But when I say that, it has nothing to do with my sexuality or anything like that. It has to just say, like, I don't know you, but I love you because we are all in this together. I don't know if that guy, that girl, whoever it is going to find the cure that will one day maybe save my child that I don't even have yet. Like, you just never know what's going to happen. And I feel like if we create, like, some people I think get annoyed by it because they might have something against me for some reason. And I just tell them, like, listen, I completely understand you have your own opinion, but I do love you, and I hope the best for you. And I think it drives them nuts. But I do. Like, you can like me, you can hate me, but no matter what, I'm going to care about you. I don't want anything bad. Some people, like, get in that vibe, like, oh, I hope this happens to blah, blah, blah. Like, I get it. I've been hurt. A lot of people have been really hurt by other people. But by retaliating with hate, what is that going to cause or cure? It's not going to cure anything. It's just going to create more hate. And I'd rather just suck it up, bite my tongue, and let them know, like, listen, I love you, and I hope the best for you. And that's something that I'm trying to teach some of the younger adults that come up to me asking questions. I want them to understand that it's okay to be open. Like some of my friends back home still, they're just like, I can't believe you actually tell people or you film yourself where you're crying. I'm like, I'm like, crying? Are you serious? You're worried about me crying? Like, if you want my man card or whatever you call it, take it. But, like, I'm an emotional being, and I believe that we must think and cry and feel and love every single day. If not, we're wasting our day away. And I'm just telling you, and you know this too, we don't know what's around that corner. I don't know if tomorrow I'm going to be here or not, so why not enjoy every single day? I'm not going to say, like, next Monday I'm going to start enjoying my life. Well, what if next Monday doesn't exist in your life? What if something happens? So let's start enjoying it now, and you can do that by helping people and helping yourself. Internal happiness is the first step, and once you find out what you really love, people are going to see that, and then when people see that, they feel it, and then when they feel it, then they want to return it, and then it's just this big circle. Like, people are like, you do so much for CF, and I'm like, man, I can never catch up to what CF and helping CF has done for me. It's done so much for me, and I feel like it's a small little portion of what it's done for me, and I'll continue to do that and live my dreams through adventure, through my family, and through my friends.
It's just amazing. I don't get the same. I guess I don't get the same. I'm not gonna say feelings. I think I get the same feelings. I have not committed my life to 100% like you have, and it blows my mind. We're involved with so many different charities, and I do it because I genuinely want to help people. And unfortunately, we got in this conversation at work the other day because I don't give money to all the people standing in the corners asking for money, because we all know it's hit and miss. Either some of these people legitimately need money, and some of these people, they're just wanting a way to pay for their beer. And, I just have this policy that if I go to Kmart and Walmart or any of the places and they, would you like to give $1? Yes, I will give $1 or $5, whatever the case is. And then when I have different foundations, like the Seek to Destroy Cancer, I was involved with a couple weeks ago, you guys and a couple other, I have no problem with that. And I'm the type that I know we can write all this stuff off being involved. To me, I don't write it off because I feel that if the government's giving me the money back, then I'm not really contributing or helping. If the government's really doing it, I'm getting credit for what the government is helping me, help you, or help whoever with. So I know a lot of people, and I don't look at people differently because they write it off. I just don't personally write it off because I feel that I'm not really giving 100% if I'm getting help from the government for helping someone else. I don't know, that's just the way I look at it. Anyway.
Well, no, there's nothing wrong with that, too. Like, to be completely honest, like, the More Than Just Me Foundation has done a lot for the homeless. But, you know, especially living where I live in San Diego, there's a lot of homeless around here, and a lot of them ask for money. And I'm the guy where, like, listen, I'm not going to give you money, but if I have the time and I have, you know, my own money to spend, I'm like, let's go grab breakfast, or here's, you know, this and this. And that's completely understandable. And you don't have to, like, what people need to realize, if they don't donate to More Than Just Me, they're not on Santa's naughty list. Like, donate when you feel it's right. Don't give money just to give money. Give money with passion. Give money with love. Or just, you don't even have to give money. Give a smile.
Exactly.
Give a hug. Give encouragement. Share something on Facebook. So many people get caught up like, how much money have you raised? To be honest with you, I don't keep track of anything like that. I have no idea how much money we've raised with the More Than Just Mountains project, because I know that we're affecting lives every time we climb. And if people donate, it's just kind of like this little bonus where you get excited. You're like, all right, sweet. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm super stoked about it. And, you know, like we are thankful, very thankful for donations, but if someone says, like, hey, I can't give, $5 right now, but I want to let you know that, you know, like, you inspire me, or you motivate me to be more active, or you motivate me to do more in my community, man, that's priceless. That makes $5 look silly.
And I agree. And people also don't understand, just giving your time, you know, just simply open the door or help somebody. You know, I commonly go out and help people pump their gas. Or, you know, I have a bunch of ladies that come in and don't have any idea how to even check their air and their tires. And I'll go out and it is what it is. And, you know, people just get under this assumption that the only way you're really giving is money. No, a lot of times people don't even really necessarily want the money. They need the help. They need staff. And you know that just as well as I know how important the staff is, especially when you guys are doing what you're doing. And you know, people just get under this, you know, misconception. Well, I can't help because I don't got the money. Not everybody's looking for, you know, money. They're just needing help in general. And speaking of which, how can people not only get involved or help with this event coming up, but if you know your story has inspired them, how can they get involved with More Than Just Me? And you know, maybe money is not their, you know, something they can just hand over. But their time, their dedication, being part of this bigger project, how can they get involved with that?
Absolutely. So if you go to our website, mtjm.org, and you click on it says MTJ Team. It's one of our tabs right on the top, and you scroll down. There's a little button. It says Get Involved, and you click on that. You know, you can put your name, your email, the subject, and then the message. That could be like, thank you for this, or, hey, you misspelled something on your website, or I really want to be a part of More Than Just Me. I want to donate. I can't donate. I'd like to volunteer my time. I know how to do grant writing. I'm really good with social media. Anything and everything. Like, so many people are like, oh, well, I don't know how to do this. Well, do you know how to click share on Facebook? Because sometimes your 1,000 friends that you just shared that to might be someone that's affected, that it could change their life, or it might be someone that has an uncle that is just dying to donate $1 million to someone or something like that. You never know. And it's happened so much where, like, people, it's like, hey, I never heard of More Than Just Me until, you know, blah, blah, blah shared this, and then I just want to let you know, like, my son has cystic fibrosis, or my child is adopted, and I adopted them from Ecuador. And there's amazing stories. So go to the website, you know, click on our team, and scroll down and get involved. Please, like, if anyone's, like, listening and, like, inspired, motivated, want to help, want to talk, or even about most random things, you know, maybe you're having a bad day, if you want to chat, my whole team is extremely personable, and so am I. My phone number is public. My email is public. and I respond. Like, my goal is to always respond quickly to my emails as long as I'm within the country. Sometimes when I'm on a mountain, that makes it hard to do. But I want people to send us messages. I want people to get involved. And I want people to realize that they don't have to donate. If you want to donate money, cool. I thank you. I mean, you know, those donations go towards good causes. If you want to donate your time, awesome, because we need it, because we're growing very fast. If you want to donate your energy, your thoughts, if you need someone to donate their time for you, bring it. Let's do this together.
Tommy, never would imagine, I want to say it's almost 3 years ago, I want to say it was 3 Bristol fall races ago, counting this year. It seems like it anyway. That we would still be talking. I never would have thought someone doing Twitter shout-outs at Bristol Motor Speedway for 3M would lead to having you on the show multiple times and be able to talk to probably one of the most fascinating people I've ever had the opportunity to sit down and talk with. And not only that, the great things that you do and the inspiring stories. I want to thank you, not only for coming on the show, but for everything you do. I have never seen your video blogs, but make sure you definitely keep posting pictures. I do love being able to see the pictures come through and just be able to see the different things that you get to experience and the different people's lives you get to affect. But I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank you for everything you do. Good luck on the More Than Just Miles coming up here in about 2 weeks. I'm looking forward to seeing more great things coming out of you guys over there at More Than Just Me. Make sure you guys check them out on mtjm.org to help support and help be involved. Tommy, enjoy the rest of your night. Looking forward to talking to you again soon, and good luck on everything.
Thanks, and I want to say thank you to you. I mean, like, I was just talking to my wife before I jumped on the call, and she's like, oh, you got another radio interview? Because I'll go through some of these sometimes. She's like, so it'd be about 5 minutes. I'm like, no way. This is like I love these guys. Like, we get to actually sit down and chat and really kind of get to know what More Than Just Me is about instead of trying to shove it into 3 minutes. And I appreciate that because I really want people to realize that this isn't something where I want you to just donate to our foundation. I want you to be a part of the global foundation of being bigger than yourself, and that doesn't have to do anything with More Than Just Me. Just go out there and change someone's life and be the hero, be the change that we need in the world. But thank you so much for having me on. You know, I'll always jump on whenever you need me as long as I'm not on a mountain, and maybe even sometimes via satellite phone. We'll have to do that on one of these mountains coming up.
Oh, yes, we do. That would be awesome. Good luck. Be safe in all your adventures, and we'll definitely catch up real soon.
Okay. Take care, bud.
All right. Have a good night. That was Tommy Danger. Phenomenal guy. Like I said, nothing more than me and the late Miss Brandy. I'm still with you. I'm still friends with her husband on Facebook, and it's going to be that time of year where it's rotated back around a year of memories and all that stuff. And unfortunately lost her, I want to say about June time last year, if I remember correctly, but I know we're cycling back around to that. But it was me and her in Bristol, and it was our first race together, and we ended up going to Atlanta the following weekend. But we weren't we got in this thing, and I still do it. It's still part of my tradition. I get there early enough, and I get set up down in the media center, get all my stuff, my credentials and everything, and we get set up in the media center, and then we go down to the hospitality area. Yes, I am just as much of a NASCAR fan as everybody else when it comes to, I don't care what sport it is. If they have a hospitality area, I'm getting me some goodies. I'm getting stuff, take back thing. I only usually get stuff that I can use. I don't get greedy with it. And I know some people, they hit up every single tent and get everything free and stuff just thrown away and everything else. But if there's stuff going on in the hospitality area that, that I can get some, I think last time we came back with a bunch of toothpaste, Crest toothpaste, and bags, and there's a bunch of, I forget, I've gotten so many bags. Bags is a big thing. which I can always use between the gym and traveling and the shows and everything else. It is great, but we weren't doing nothing more than minding our business, just kind of taking it in. First experience of being media, Bristol, the last Coliseum, that was the track that, on my bucket list, towards the top. And Tommy's there on the microphone with 3M and talking about, if you tweet, blah, 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 we'll shout you out. So I'm like, you know what? It's our first time, we're working on getting our name out there. Who would ever thought? Here we are now, and 200,000 listeners a month later, here we are. But I was like, I'll go ahead, and I'm hurry up tweeting. I want to make sure that I get in before he stops doing all this. And I remember he shouted out, read the tweet, and I remember he called us up front and asked us, or either he called us up front and asked if it was a radio station or, radio, or he asked us from there. But anyway, we went up front. He gave us his card with what he had going on with More Than Just Me. And I think we went a couple of weeks without, I think I had to look up, find the business cards. We got that, and I ended up getting another business card from a guy that wrote for a local that, he was really helpful in Atlanta. Wrote for Dude Magazine or Dude Newspaper or something. And, we contacted Tommy, and, really ever since then, like that, I think we've had him on 5 or 6 times at this point. So you figure about almost 3 years. I want to say I didn't go to Bristol last year, second, so this has probably been 3.5. It was probably 2012 is probably what it was. But to know that we've had him on probably about once, if not twice a year since then, and just be able to keep up with him and see everything he does, it's mind-blowing. I couldn't imagine. I was in the military, and I was in one of those units that the running was cool. We were going to run. Even though I wasn't 82nd, there's nothing against 82nd. Nothing against those that jump out of an airplane, but I'm sorry, $150 a month is not worth it to me. To have to jump out of a plane, I want to say twice a month, and have a potential leg issue the rest of my life. It just wasn't worth it. Would I like to jump out of a plane once before I die? Probably. I always said yes, but I don't know. That's not up there. I could deal with heights to a level. We always go to the Kleeman Dome in Tennessee, where you can see like 4, 5, or 6 states coming together, and most of the time it's like the highest point. A lot of times I can handle it. Sometimes I'm just like, wow, like this is just really up there. So I could not imagine coming from a plane and looking at the earth and just be falling and then be paranoid whether or not my chute's going to open or not. But yeah, part of me would like to say that I would do it, and there's a big part of me that says yes, I would like to, but not for a couple times a month for that kind of thing. And got a lot of respect for those that do it on a monthly basis. It was not me. But I was part of one of those units that was cool. We're going to run. And here in the part of North Carolina it's pretty much flat. So not only do we have to run a good distance every day, we would go 30 minutes past PT a lot of times, especially with First Sergeant Mendez. He was all about some running, him and Captain Whitaker, my CO, my First Sergeant. And it was very common for us to not just go the hour and a half that PT, but it would go after that because we were running so far and so long. But they would find anything and everything to make a hill out of it. If there was a sidewalk, the other side had steps, we were going up the ramp and coming down the steps, or vice versa. They were finding anything and everything. It was my long story short. Even though I ran a lot, and it got to the latter part of my time in the military, I learned a valuable lesson. If you fall back far enough, you can find a shortcut cut back to the barracks, and I was influenced by some others to do that quite often, where we would be back about 30 minutes after PT started. We go back and shower and go ahead and catch us a good nap before. I stayed in physically good shape. I'm getting back into shape now. I got back in the gym after being out for about a year and a half. I started my 4 mile. I'm not gonna say run because I do an elliptical machine. Was 41, almost 42 minutes. I got it down to 31 minutes, 31:03 today. So, that's one of the things that I'm working. You got to remember 2 years ago, and those that, weren't around 2 years ago, I was down to 250, benching 460 pounds. I was dieseled up. I was in really good shape. Then life, and then only having one vehicle, so stuck at the house, and then having the opposite schedule with the girl that I lived with at the time, made it where I didn't get any gym time. And now that, I'm not going to say I live alone, but I have a roommate. I live with a family. And rent a room and having the free time and having a vehicle all the time and everything else. Now I'm getting back in the gym, and like I told my friend today, the 49er fan, the weight is not fluctuating none, but the inches are coming back off, which I can handle that. I know how it all works. Muscles more than fat, and blah 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 blah. Yes, at times it can be aggravating to see. I like to get back down to 250. As a matter of fact, I like to get to 225 with my bench being around 450, which is great. I ain't been around 225 since I competed in competitions for bench press with gold and a couple other competitions I was in. But with long story short, even in my best of days when I was running, and I think I was down to a 196 when I was in the military, and even a couple when I competed about 9 years ago, because my son was just real young, 8, 9 years ago, maybe 7. I was down at 225, and then even 2 years ago when I was probably in the best shape of my life, I was still doing cardio, still doing 4 to 8 miles. I think I was doing almost 8 miles in an hour time frame, and everything else. As my just started making noise, and there's not other stop. But long story short, back even in my best of days, in the best shape of my life, I could not imagine saying, you know what, I'm going to go for a run. And that run ended up starting off in Seattle, Washington, and ending up in Daytona, Florida. Like, I know ever. I am nowhere close to the imagination of being Forrest Gump or Tommy Danger, for that matter. And it was interesting because even all the times that he's been on the show and we've talked about it, I had no idea where he finished that run from Washington to Florida. That is where the event starts and finishes for the 5K. More than just miles. That was something that I did get to learn tonight, and that's really cool. But never would have imagined crossing the path of somebody 3, almost 4 years ago. And even though they live clear across the world, or not clear across the world, clear across the United States, he spends a lot of time clear across the world, it seems like. Here we are with the opportunity to still get to talk to him and have him on the show. And he touched on a point that I want to touch on, and the fact that, he asked if it was a, 5-10 minute interview, and know that, he enjoyed all that. One, I hate using the word interview. I feel that none of the people we have on the 110 Nation Sports Show, it is an interview. To me, it's more of a conversation, and I also want to apologize because I'm reading my show description, and I just realized like the 5 big mistakes and the words I misspelled. I was working on the car today in the gym and trying to get the car ready for inspection, and just 20,000 things going on, and I did not realize I overlooked these errors, so I just want to apologize on that. But everybody we have come on the 110 Nation Sports Show, I don't feel it's ever an interview, and I've said this many times. To me, it's a conversation. I never once have I ever walked away from a show and like, there's another interview. Like, to me, it's a conversation. Like, I tried to make this as comfortable, relaxing, and informal as possible. And I think that's why so many of our guests love coming back to the show, because I never venture into areas that I shouldn't. I don't make them feel uncomfortable. I don't make them feel like they're being drilled. I try. My goal here is to make you feel like we're two buddies cracking up in cold ones, sitting back in chairs, watching the sun set and having lifelong conversations. I mean, that's kind of the atmosphere I'm trying, I try to present because I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to return. I want them to open up. Now, if there's areas that I don't ask, but they feel comfortable enough that they open up and volunteer that stuff, then, that's them. That's because they feel that comfortable. But I never try to, my mission is to make everybody feel as comfortable and like it's a conversation. But that also brings me to my second point. I probably have the best guest that any show could ever ask for. And we got guests lined up for the next 2 nights as well. We got Brady Boswell, who's going to be driving for Mason Mitchell Motorsports this weekend at Nashville. He's coming on tomorrow night at 9:30. Of course, we got Izzo joining us at 10:30. I'm sure in between we'll probably have Shorty visiting us as well. And then we got Wednesday, Brandon Martin at 9:30. He had a doubleheader this weekend, and we're waiting to catch up with him to see how that went. We probably have, and we've had NHL guests on. We've had Sprint Cup, Xfinity Series, Truck, ARCA, K&N Pro. We've had Harlem Globetrotters. We've had guys from iRacing. We've had Schultz. What is that? They're the ones that do the video cameras and the helmets now. We've had many different people from all walks of life come on this show. And I've mentioned this a few times, probably a couple times on the show, but I have had this conversation more times than none off the show. It amazes me because you watch SportsCenter, you see those guests come on maybe 5-10 minutes. And, I've reached out to a few people and say, look, even if you just come on 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, I'm going to take it. And I think we've only had in the 3 years that we've really been doing, the first couple of years that I hardly had any guests on. It wasn't really until Ms. Lee took over the PR department that we just exploded with guests. I think we've had one person not be able to hang around for 30 minutes. Everybody else, and that's just because they had something else planned. They either had some, it was either work-related, family, or they had another interview. I can't remember. But, it wasn't they just didn't want to. They just had something else lined up, and they couldn't hang out. And they might end up hanging out almost the whole time anyway. But everybody else we've had on this show for a minimum of 30 minutes. That is phenomenal to me. Like, you have no idea, knowing how many sports centers I've watched and how many the herds I've watched and how many of all these other shows that I've watched, and know that every single one of our guests, but maybe one, and we average the last 3 years, take the show days versus the guests, we average probably about one guest a show. And to know that they all have hung out for that period of time, by far, hands down, the best guest. And even on the Dirt Talk Hour, all of them at least 30 minutes. Racing with Big Sweat, same thing. Like, it really just blows my mind how great our guests are. And without the guests, I mean, yeah, we would still be here, but you guys would just be stuck listening to me the whole time. I mean, granted, you had to listen to me an hour and a half out of the 2 hours, but there's some nights you ain't going to listen to me at all. Some nights we have 3 guests lined up. I think there's been nights we've even had 4. And we brought them in at like 9, 10, and we was booked the rest of the night. I'll be wrong. Some nights, most nights I prefer having the guests. It is great. And I love having the best of both worlds. I talked about this last week, the week before. I honestly would love to have every episode. I would love to have one returning guest and one new guest, that we learn something new from somebody and be part of someone else's career and life, and then we also get to have someone come back that have really enjoyed the stuff to come back. The best of both worlds for me. There's some nights that I'm perfectly content and happy that I get to do all the talking. There's some nights that I got so much on my mind that it would almost be an inconvenience to have someone come on the show. I mean, there's some nights that are like that. Most nights, no. Most nights, if I'm low for the 2 hours, I'm kind of dreading it, because some nights there's just nothing going on. Like tonight would be a prime example. Maybe even tomorrow night. Tomorrow's night we'll be following it. I mean, with no NBA action, there's only one basketball game going on. There's no NFL really going on. There was no big news coming out of Martinsville and NASCAR. I mean, it was a great weekend in racing. But, so, yeah, tomorrow having two guests, possibly Shorty, and following it's probably a really good thing. Cause, you know, and then we get later in the week, Thursday and Friday. Of course, you got racing with Big Sweat, and then Friday you got me again. But at least by then, now we're closer to the playoff picture. Now we're down to those 3 or 4 games left, and so now there's much more stuff to talk about. So, I mean, but I do got to thank all the guests that we have come on the show. It don't matter. You know, we have all those peak performance contestants come on, San Diego Surge players and coaches, you know, all the ranks that we've had from NASCAR, the Seek to Destroy Cancer, More Than Just Me. Just everybody we've had come on the show, and the time that they give us, it's humbling. Like it makes you feel like you're accomplishing something, and that makes you feel like it matters, that you matter. So. Carolina's come out second half of this game not so hot. As a matter of fact, Villanova on a 21-9 run to start off the second half of the game, as Villanova is now up 55 to 48. Because I got to get that out there. Yes. Greg Hardy. I don't know what to say about this fool. I guess there's about to be an interview come out tomorrow, and he denies ever putting his hands on a woman's body. That's not how he was raised, or something else. Very contradictory of everything that just happened and been released, and the fact that nobody wants to sign him because even at Dallas there were so many off-the-field issues. Greg Harding, that's I tell you what, that's a character and a half there. I lost a lot of respect for Dallas for doing that. I'm sorry, there's certain rules and certain things that I don't feel that people should get away with and still be rewarded. Move over, George Costanza. There's a new Lord of Idiots, and his name is Greg Hardy. ESPN released an excerpt of Hardy's exclusive interview with Adam Schefter on Monday, in which the former Cowboy and Panthers and current free agent defensive end admits to nothing except the fact that he's a worse person than even bigger idiot than he could possibly imagine. Before his stupidity airs in its entirety on Tuesday afternoon, Hardy already has done plenty to damage the little remaining chance he has to sign with another NFL team in 2016. And his 3 quotes that are really out there. His first quote was, "I've never put my hands on any woman in my whole life, in my whole entire life. No, sir. That's just not how we're raised. As you can tell, like I said, it's the Bible Belt. It's just something that I wouldn't even say frowned upon, just something that's non-existent in most Southern homes. That's strike one. Really, it falls apart at never. Hardy accuser Nicole Holder has strong visual evidence to the contrary, which Schefter presented after Hardy's response. The second part is a silly assumption from Hardy, speaking from his home state of Mississippi. The domestic violence is not and has never been an issue in the South. It's a huge leap to go from something being wrong to something not being done at all. Even so, it's hard to believe Hardy ever lived up, bizarro norm anyway. Schefter then pressed him, "You say you did nothing wrong, you're innocent, and yet the pictures of her that surfaced would seem to suggest a woman who had some type of physical contact. How would you explain that?" Hardy went on to say, I will stop you there and say that I didn't do anything wrong. That situation occurred and that situation was handled, but saying that I did nothing wrong is a stretch, but saying I am innocent is correct. Yes, sir. Strike two. In the same answer, Hardy admits to stretching the truth before going all legal definition on us. It's good to see he keeps stuffing his stories into a sack. Schefter even gave Hardy a second chance to show he deserves a third once you play in the league. Did you ever put your hands on her? Hardy said, no, sir. No, sir. Hardy, Greg Hardy, I don't get you. I really don't. Like it. One more highlight, one more update before we get out of here. 7 minutes left. The gap has closed a little bit. Nova is up 60 to 55. Obviously, we'll be talking about this tomorrow on the sports show. Don't forget, 9 p.m. Make sure you guys check that out. You follow me at CJ Sports 1. You follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Also, check us out on Facebook, my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Don't forget, April 15th, 5-year mark. We like to hit 1,000 likes. Make sure you guys do us one. Like us. If you guys have already liked us, make sure you guys go over there and, or make sure you guys share us. Like, everybody knows somebody that's a fan of the NBA, NFL, NASCAR, NHL, MLB, UFC, WWE. I don't care what it is. And I say WWE. We hardly ever share anything from the WWE, and it's not a sport. But we all know somebody doesn't have the opportunity to become a friend of a company like ours and what we do here. Tomorrow night, like I said, got Izzo joining us at the 10:30 spot, and we have our other guest, but I don't Brady Boswell of Triple M Racing. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Very excited about having both of these guests on the show tomorrow night. So then, you guys have a...
Thanks for listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show with Mr. CJ Sports. You are a part of the 110 Nation, so be sure to visit the110nation.com for everything related to the show. You can follow CJ on Twitter at 110nation and on Facebook at 110 Nation Sports. Until next time.
Hey Raleigh, paying too much for your wireless bill is not cool, which is why millions of people have switched to Sprint this past year. To celebrate, you can save 50% on most Verizon rate plans when you switch to Sprint. All this on the Sprint network, which is faster plus more reliable and has better coverage than ever. Why wouldn't you switch today? Hurry, visit a Sprint store or Sprint.com to learn more. Limited time only, offer coverage not available everywhere. Excludes taxes, surcharges, add-on, and premium content. Subject to new line port-in, activation fee, and credit. See website for eligible plans. Savings until March 31st, 2018 after pay full amount. Restrictions apply.